Welcome back to our Select Series, our 2021 virtual customer meetings. In this segment, we're going to talk about our Elite Dollar Combined Bulls. As many in the Angus breed know, we got a new index about a year and a half ago that really takes into account, a wide range of EPDs that we have in the Angus breed. With me to discuss those bulls is Brian House, who's our Vice President of the Beef Programs. And Brian, one of the bulls that truly has driven a lot of sales for us, Select Sires, and certainly I think is one of the top dollar combined bulls in the entire breed, is GAR Hometown. Huge popularity. Tell us a little bit about the bull.
I'll tell you a little bit, Lorna, but I hope I don't go too long. There's a lot to describe in a bull like this. We're very fortunate to work with Gardner Angus very closely, and you've watched Select Sires have access to bring in their elite bulls. Their Lot 1 bulls have been coming to our program for a long time. Hometown's another bull in that line of bulls. And in terms of where the breed is at today and looking at calving ease and growth, Lorna, like we always have to have, but also the pushing the envelope on the traits of merit like marbling and muscle and those type of traits for the end product we need. Hometown ties it all together. So I know that the Gardners were extremely happy to end up with a bull like that. We're extremely happy to end up with a bull like that. Our customers are in turn extremely happy to end up with a bull like that. One of the things that's really exciting right now, I get texts on almost a regular basis of people that show their genomic scores that come back on their early hometown calves. They're high. They get their EPDs back. They're high. The first calves on the ground are liked by our customers. They're nice looking calves. They got some shape, they got some top, and they're born easily. We expected that, but this bull's got a world of opportunity. As Lorna mentioned, our high seller, or one of our high selling bulls from last year, I expect him to be right at the top again this year. There's nothing to hold him back. He makes lots of high quality semen, and as he's matured, I think he just gets better. We saw him just the other day, and I had high hopes, but at the same time, it's like I think he got better, and he was already good. So there's a lot to look forward to with a bull like Hometown.
Yeah, when you talk about getting texts, that's probably one of the most frequent texts I get are people that have gone through and saw the bull and, send me pictures of him because he is so impressive and stud. And then the other comment I've gotten a lot on the young calves is how black they are. And, so I think he's going to be a bull that, like you said, is definitely calving ease, but people really like the calves that they've got on the ground. And to follow him up, another bull from the Gardner program that hits our Dollar C list and is very competitive with Hometown is a bull called Dual Threat. That we brought in about a year ago. He is a surefire son out of a Daybreak daughter, and reads super competitive when you look at his EPD profile. Really, I think he's getting positioned as the bull that can replace Surefire in our lineup. He's going to be a bull that has a little bit more performance than Surefire has. One of the really cool things I think about Dual Threat, and very true in person as well, is that he is going to be a foot improver when you see the bull in person. Above average for feet. He reads that way on paper. He's a bull that's well over, I think, 1.2 for both marbling and ribeye. Ranks in the top 1% of the breed for most of the carcass traits, a lot of the indexes, so reads really well. I think he's going to be a little different than Surefire from a phenotype standpoint, and that he's going to sire probably a little bit more size. They're going to be really long-bodied cattle. I had the opportunity to see some of these calves at the JLB Ranch in Kansas, and they're just going to be, I think, a little bit stouter, a little bit longer bodied, a little bit higher performing version of what you expect out of the Surefires. But again, another bull that I think is going to have a really good spring, not only because of how he reads on paper, but just I think he's going to be the next step for those folks that like the Surefire pedigree.
That's great. Another bull we're going to follow up with in this group of bulls is a bull called Peyton. A bull that initially, I think we really went after Peyton from the genomic scores, and he was a standout. There's no doubt about that. His numbers are high. We understand that, but one of the most exciting parts of Peyton, he's added a lot of progeny. He's got a lot of calves on the ground. He's got yearlings. He's got 2-year-olds in milk, and so at this point in time, his data is holding it together in a genomic world, and we're proud of that. And so, yeah, the bull's a little bit larger than average in our lineup, but he's not a giant. I mean, he is a 6.5 frame bull. He's sound. He's pretty good as far as his phenotype. He adds depth, and I've seen daughters in production. They're deep deep ribbed, good solid cows. I think mated right, I think people are going to be very excited. I know that, like I said, the bull's a little larger, so you have to be careful. You don't want to mate him to maybe your largest cow, but when keeping that in check, these are cattle that perform. These are cattle that have the traits we're looking for. We got calving ease, we got exceptional growth, and the carcass traits line up to be very high as well. Calving ease maternal, heifer pregnancy, both high for this bull. And at this point in time, I will call Peyton a foot improver. I mean, he's pretty good as far as his foot structure. We're happy about that. So Peyton's one of those, we call him a genomic rock star. And at this point, it looks like he's going to be able to maintain that status.
Yeah, Brent, I think you made a great point too about, hometown seems to really transmit the genomics. Peyton is very much the same way when you look at, some of the sons that are now starting to get promoted in the industry, and he certainly is a bull that transmits the genomics that he himself obviously possesses. Because
of what he's doing from that genomic standpoint, he had a lot of progeny that sold this last fall that they kind of rang the bell. Yeah. They got there because people are looking at that saying, my gosh, how can I propel what I'm either purchasing or what I'm breeding to a new level? Peyton's one of the bulls that does it.
Yeah, and one of the other things I really like that you pointed out is I think the cool thing about $C is that, everybody there for a while, we were all focused on some of the terminal traits, but $C really does incorporate things like heifer pregnancy, calving ease maternal, feet, and some of the things that you mentioned on Peyton. And I think people tend to put those bulls in a box when really he's actually a very strong maternal bull too when you look at, some of those values that he has. And following him up, a young bull that we've brought in that kind of fits that same mold is a bull called Jan Top Cut. He is a really different pedigree for us in that he is a Reno son out of a Discovery, out of a Future Focus. And so for a lot of our traditional Select Sires customers, he provides some mating flexibility because that pedigree is pretty different for us. He's really unique in that when you study his index profile, I think he ranks in the top 1% of the breed for like dollar maternal, dollar weaning, dollar grid, dollar beef, $C. I mean, he's about as complete as you can make him. People find him on sorts and call all the time. But, he is a bull that actually we really like from a phenotype standpoint. He is going to be a little bit bigger framed, even though, I would call him a low 6 frame score bull. But the cool thing is that he packs a lot of performance, like 140 pounds of yearling weight, into a pretty moderate prediction for both yearling height and mature height. I think he's in the 0.5 range for those traits. And so you do get a lot of performance in a pretty moderate package. And again, the mating flexibility. He is a bull that's really attractive. He's very long-bodied. Again, kind of like with Peyton, I think, he's going to work best on some really moderate, big-bodied, softer-made type cows that maybe you need to add some performance and some carcass tabulations to. But like Peyton, he's also a bull that's really, really high for heifer pregnancy. And that's an EPD that I honestly believe really works. And I think we can improve female fertility if we will actually select for that EPD. And Top Cut's one of those bulls that ranks really high within our set of bulls.
He's an exciting bull, Lorna. And another bull that fits right behind all these other bulls we're talking about, but not behind, but right with them. A bull called West Point, came from the same program where Peyton originated from, the Edgewood program in Virginia. He's a momentum son, and I think that's one of the reasons I really like this bull, because I've always liked momentum. But West Point takes some of the things that momentum did very well to a new level. And so we talk about high $C. Yes, West Point, his predictions say high $C, but there's a spread between calving ease and growth, which we need. But there's a lot of marbling, there's a lot of muscle, and they're under control for size. And that's one of my pet peeves. I like to see the cattle that don't get too big, and I think West Point's one of those. I had a chance to see quite a few yearling daughters from West Point last fall. I like them a lot. They're feminine, they're made right, and they're right size, and they look like they're going to grow like they're supposed to. So West Point's one of those that we feel like because of his balance across the board, the calving ease, the growth, the carcass merit, we've talked about heifer pregnancy, we talked about calving ease maternal, those are things that still fit. And so putting all that together in one package, I think we referenced several bulls that combine really a lot of the traits we're trying to put into one animal, and that's our job, and that's also our job to make sure our customers are getting what they want.
Exactly. And, there's some other bulls in our lineup that really excel for $C that we've probably talked about in other categories, but these were some bulls that I guess, I think we really wanted to focus on, that we really do feel do a lot of things right.